Around Saturn, there is a huge white ring. It wraps all the way around the planet, just like a giant donut. Have you ever wondered what that ring is made of? I think it looks really cool and mysterious. A long, long time ago, tiny chunks of ice floated around near Saturn. There were also little rocks drifting here and there in space. Saturn is huge and super strong. It started pulling all those pieces of ice and rock closer and closer. Today, we are going to find out how Saturn got its thin, wide ring that wraps around it like a sparkling belt. Now, the real adventure begins. Saturn used its super strong gravity to grab onto all the ice chunks and rocks nearby. These pieces started spinning around Saturn. Sometimes they bumped into each other with a crash, and sometimes they bounced away. I bet it was really noisy out there. As time passed, the pieces spread out more and more. Soon, they stretched all the way around Saturn in a wide, thin ring. It almost looks like Saturn is wearing a giant white ribbon made of light. Let's take a closer look and see exactly what Saturn's rings are made of. If we peek inside Saturn's rings, we'll see they're packed full of icy pieces. They look just like the cold, white chunks of ice you might touch in winter. Some of the ice pieces are as small as a pebble, and some are huge, almost the size of a car. There are tiny grains, big icy boulders, and even a few rocky bits mixed in too. All these bits and pieces come together to make Saturn's rings. And guess what? The rings aren't just one big loop. They're actually lots of thin rings stacked up, kind of like the layers of a cake. I bet you're wondering how thick these giant rings really are. Ready? Because next, we're going to explore just how thin and wide Saturn's amazing rings can be. Saturn's rings are really, really big. They're so wide, you could fit several Earths inside the space they cover. But here's the crazy part. Even though the rings are super wide, they're also super thin. The thickest part is only about as tall as a 2-story building. So Saturn is wrapped up in these giant thin bands that circle all the way around it. Inside the rings, all the ice chunks and rocks are spinning round and round Saturn. Saturn's strong gravity keeps everything moving in its place. Can you imagine running through a giant ice donut in space? That's what Saturn's rings are like. A magical donut made of ice and rocks floating around the planet. Saturn isn't the only planet with rings. Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune have rings too! But the rings around those planets are really thin and dark. They're so faint, you can barely see them at all. Saturn's rings are super big and bright. They shine so much that you can spot them even from far away. So, why does Saturn have such amazing rings? Well, Saturn is a giant planet with super strong gravity. It pulls in all the ice and rocks, holding them tight in its rings. That's how Saturn keeps its enormous, sparkly ice donut circling around it. Now, let's go over what we learned today, one more time. Saturn's rings are made of tons of ice and rock pieces spread out wide. They circle all the way around Saturn, just like a big sparkly donut. These pieces stay in place because Saturn's strong gravity keeps pulling them close, holding them in the ring. Thanks to its beautiful rings, Saturn is one of the most special and amazing planets in space. I can't wait to share more cool and fun space stories with you. See you soon!